Cornel West was on the Tavis Smiley radio show, and he wanted to talk about the way that we cover the shootings based on the races of the victims, actually. So we unfortunately don't have audio of this, but we do have some of his quotes. He says, "We can't just shed tears for those on the vanilla side of town. They are precious, but they are no less or more precious than our poor brothers and sisters on Indian reservations who are killing each other, or be they black or brown or what have you. But it's a good thing that we now have a discussion on gun control. We need one on drone control. Not a peep, not a mumbling word when black folk get shot. But now, Newtown, Connecticut, vanilla side, lo and behold, we got a major conversation." So he's a bit rambling there, but he makes a good point that if a bunch of white people get shot, it's major news, which it should be. But that if black children are getting shot in different cities, on different days, nobody really hears anything about it.
I had a couple. One, as we can't run his whole. He was very clear just to be about the no denying of this tragedy, and that it's good that there's a conversation now. And he's just saying it just makes him feel bad that he knows it's not equal, and there's no denying it's not equal. I think it would be equal, however, if in a predominant, overwhelmingly black school, if 20 kids were killed in a black school.
So that's why. Look, I like Cornel West a lot in terms of his ideology and what he says, and I think he's a strong voice and often says things that need to be said that aren't said. Here, I agree with him only about 50%.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, in pointing out the hypocrisy we have when our drones kill brown kids in Yemen and Pakistan, etc., that's a hypocrisy we pointed out. I totally agree with. In saying that people are more concerned that it's in the vanilla side of town, I think that's probably at least a little bit right. But a huge part of it is because it's the mass shooting versus the singular shootings. Because white people die all the time, every day in gun shootings, but they do it one at a time or two at a time or three at a time, and it doesn't get the same attention. Same is true of black people. So I think the bigger point of emphasis is the mass shooting.
Well, his point to that would be that's not quite true. I mean, yes, white people are killed in shootings consistently, but black people are killed per capita more. And you're right, because it's one at a time, it's not going to be as big a news story, and it's not going to affect the national consciousness in the same way. Even the same way as if 20 independent white first graders were killed over a year's period, it wouldn't affect us in the same way. So, right and wrong, but there is a totally valid point there, of course, that we see, because we presume that when we read about a 17-year-old black kid getting shot, sometimes it'll make clear the kid was in crossfire or, and he was in the house that got shot up. But we'll make some judgment somewhere in our soul that, well, he was in a gang too. He was asking for, he was in the life.
Or the simpler way of framing it, he was in the wrong part of town.
Right, he was in the wrong part of town.
And it's
as if it was his fault that he lives in that part of town.
Exactly. It reminds me of Dick Cheney saying about Iraq on Meet the Press, they're in the same geographic region from which the terrorists came to attack us.
Right.
Like, they're in the wrong part of the world, man. So that's why we had to go to Iraq. And then oftentimes, and Robert Gibbs did it the other day when talking about the drone strikes. We killed Awlaki's 16-year-old son. And he said, well, when the dads, I guess, should rethink, who they're, showing allegiance to. So now we kill their kids?
Yeah.
So it's all wrong part of town, wrong part of world. So it's okay, we compartmentalize it. Not necessarily to say that every American thinks it's okay, obviously we don't, but we think we get it. Okay, that's what happens. When it happens in Newtown, you're like, wait a minute, those look like my kids. That looks like my kindergarten school. That's not supposed to happen.